This is the 18 Strong Podcast with Jeff Pellizzero, episode number 88.
Welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast, where you get direct access to the world's greatest experts on training harder, practicing smarter, and playing better golf. Now, here's your host, Jeff Pellizzero.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast. Thanks for joining me on the show this week. It's been kind of a crazy week and a half to a couple of weeks. We, last week, put out our very first book. And when I say we, I mean myself, my cousin Ryan. Ryan handled a lot of the behind the scenes, everything that has to do with the website and everything. The content obviously was written by me, but it was a team effort to get this bad boy out there. So we put the book, The Golfer's Guide to a Bogey-Proof Workout, out on Amazon and sent it out to all of you in 18 Strong Land and had a huge response. And we actually reached the bestsellers list on Amazon for, we put it out basically on Friday. All through the weekend, we were the number one book and Kindle in the category of golf, which was kind of amazing to us. And so I have to thank everybody that supported us, everybody that left reviews on the book. We've got a bunch of reviews, and I'm going to go ahead and read one of the reviews that came in, and they keep coming in on a daily basis, but I want to thank you guys because it is the reviews that really help push this in the ranks of Amazon and help get us to the bestseller category and help us hopefully stay there for a while, as well as the purchases. So here's a review by James R., which came in and said, "The information presented in this book will help jumpstart you to make the most out of your fitness efforts. It is well written, quick and easy reading, and if followed, will give you the information to understand what a fitness program, in parentheses, lifestyle, should consist of. There are enough supporting references to help you understand and create your own fitness program. Well done and long overdue. Golf Fitness Guide." James, thanks for the review, and thanks for everybody else that put the reviews on there. Again, if you do get the book, if you read through the book, give me some feedback. Let us know what you think, and if you want, go on and give us a review on Amazon. It does nothing but help. And I've also had some cool things. There have been people who have been posting their pictures as soon as they get them in the mail, as soon as they got their book in the mail. They've posted a picture saying, "Hey, can't wait to read it." I even had one of our buddies from up in New York, Jim, who went to Wingfoot Golf Club and took the book up there and shot some pictures with it around the course, which was really cool. It's on our Facebook page if you want to go check that out. So we've had some very cool buzz around the book. We've got a couple interviews coming up because of it. And, it's just been kind of a cool adventure to finally get this out there. It's a project that I've been working on for a long time. We put a lot of effort into it. And, it's just kind of a compilation of everything that I believe in the fitness world. Obviously, there's so much more that can be put into a book, and once you write it, it's kind of like, oh man, I should have put this in there, or I didn't put that piece in there, or man, they need to know about this. But there's so much that can be put in there, and it's just a quick and dirty read. I promise that you can get through it very, very quickly. But I wanted to put in just the bare bones and make sure that you had a place to start, because that's been one of the biggest things that we've heard is we need a place to start. Give us something to just kind of get us going, and then we can kind of build from there. So this is kind of our base platform, and we've got a lot more things coming up, but wanted to get this out there for you for sure. And speaking to the fact that it can always be, there can always be something added. There can always be something you think you forgot. One of my big mottos over the past year and a half since starting the podcast is that done is better than perfect. And there were many times when, trying to finish up the last piece of this book, it's hard to put something like this out there and open yourself up to the world, open up your product to the world. And I have to say that Friday was a pretty nerve-wracking day, finally putting this out there. But, done is better than perfect. So get it out there. Otherwise, you'll never get it out there. And that goes with so many different things in life, whether that be, working on your golf game or your business or doing a presentation or whatever it is. One of my key lessons that I've learned over the past year is that right there. Done is better than perfect. So get it out. You can always tweak it. You can always make it better. And heck, who knows who's going to find it, who's going to stumble on it, and they could love it, they could hate it, but whatever. You took the initiative to get it out there. Now, since we put the book out, and really over the past several months, and with many of the different guests that we've had on the show, the book is called The Golfer's Guide to a Bogey-Proof Workout. And I'm definitely realizing as I talk to so many more great coaches, players. There's obviously way more to playing great golf and enjoying the game of golf the way that we all want to enjoy it than just the training part and just the technical part. There's a lot of other factors, and that's where we've really started to adopt the theory of living what we're calling a bogey-proof lifestyle. And, that has to do with so many other factors as far as, like mental game and just sleep and things like that, and all the other factors that come into it, recovery. Those are all pieces of the puzzle that we really have to factor in as far as, how are we going to become not just the best golfer, but the best version of ourselves. So in today's episode, what I wanted to do was give you a little glimpse inside the book, some of the main points of the book. It's the 7 essentials to a great golf fitness program. So I want to highlight those very briefly. A lot of these are things that we've talked about on the show prior to this episode. And so I'm going to give some recaps. I'm going to give some references. And then I'm going to tie in some more of those bogey-proof lifestyle factors that I've learned and I want to pass on to you, and hopefully you've learned as we have gone through these shows together. So the first chapter of the book, and we're just going to kind of run through these almost bullet pointed, and I'll have show notes with all the information here, but when you're putting together a fitness program or you're getting ready to embark on a fitness journey, the first chapter of the book, which I think is possibly the baseline of where you need to go, is you have to have a solid plan of attack. And if you don't have a solid plan of attack, then you're really just kind of grasping in the air, hoping that things are going to fall in place, hoping that you're doing the right things. And so the key components of having a plan are, first, I believe in having a written out template of your exercises, what you're performing, how many days a week. But behind that even, it starts with having some sort of a goal in mind. And it could be something regarding, fat loss. It could be something regarding distance. It could be, your strength, your stamina on the course. Who knows? It could be your posture. But having some sort of a goal then helps to dictate what you do with your fitness program and then what that written out template is going to be consistent of. And then I think that there's 3 big points three big factors that you have to then take your plan and execute it and implement it properly. And those 3 are consistency, progress, and accountability. And by that, I mean consistency. You have to make a commitment to doing this on a regular basis. So if you have a workout program that you're going to do 3 times a week and you're going to do 2 days of, some stretching and things like that, or a day of cardio or whatever, and you've got your written out program, that's awesome if you've got it all written out, you've got it laid out, but you have to do it. If you don't do it, then there's no point. And you could go in the gym and kill it. You could work out for 5 hours one day and just destroy it and break yourself down, but then, kind of lay low for the next week and a half before you get your next workout in. And then you could kill it again and you could do 6 hours this time. But you're not consistent with it. And that's not going to give you near the amount of results as if you went in and did, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour a day, whatever it is. But it's the consistency factor that's going to outweigh, the long duration and excessive working out, or, going and practicing going to the driving range, for example. Let's use that, going to the driving range and hitting balls for 3 hours, as opposed to every day going out and working on one specific thing, or, having a little variety in your practice, but having a goal with your practice and doing that on a regular basis. When we practice in those smaller chunks and we train in those smaller chunks, but on a more consistent basis, it's that repetition that really builds that into our brain and into our system. Then the progress part is you have to be continuously trying to improve. If you're just doing the same thing that you've done forever, you're just going to stay the same. So you have to be working on progressing, increasing your weights, or doing a little faster sprint, or hitting a ball a little bit further, or challenging yourself a little bit, somehow on the practice range or the putting green. So it's working on that progress. And then the accountability portion kind of speaks for itself. Having either someone you're accountable to or being able to hold yourself accountable to do this stuff, to stay consistent and keep pushing yourself is a definite recipe for a great plan. Now, the second chapter in the book and main component, one of the big essentials, is that I feel most people miss out on the fact that they need balance in their programs. Most guys, traditionally, guys are known for going to the gym, doing their bench presses, doing their curls, and doing very little lower body and back exercises, pulling exercises. And women tend to stick more towards the, flexibility training, yoga, Pilates, those kinds of things. And I feel like we need to figure out where our weaknesses are and start to work on some of those balances. So, for instance, when I think of balance in a program, I think pushing and pulling, left side to right side, upper body and lower body. What are the things that you tend to kind of steer away from that you should be doing? So again, with the guys doing more of the bench press and the curls, well, most guys need to end up putting in some sort of pulling, like a pull-up or a row, and then instead of just working on the curls and upper body, need to start working a little bit more of the lower body. I think that the lower body is a huge factor that will dramatically improve your strength, your stability, your balance, and your swing. And so again, if that's neglected, then you're going to be missing out on a lot. So also balancing out. Do you need more strength exercises, more flexibility, or as we say, mobility and stability exercises? What are your weaknesses, and how do we balance out where you're strong and where you're weak? If your right side is very dominant, we need to get that left side balanced out. So these are the things to think about when you're getting into a fitness program. And again, all of these I expand on way more in the book. And so I definitely recommend you hop on over to bogeyproofworkout.com and check out the book. There's a Kindle version, there's a paperback version, and we go into a lot more detail on all this stuff. But you have to also realize all exercises aren't the same. So, some exercises are a little bit more demanding on the body. Some exercises are a little more isolated. So being able to pick out where you put those exercises in your program. So for instance, a bicep curl is way different and much less intense and much more isolated than a squat. And you're going to see a lot more squatting in a program that I design than you will a bicep curl. Especially for the golfers. So just realizing that there are differences in exercises, there's differences in, what you're doing. You can't just say that, I went to the gym, so I'm getting in better shape. You have to figure out where are your weaknesses and how can we get rid of them. One of the chapters that we got the most feedback from in the book, especially when I put it out to kind of a little beta group prior to releasing it, one of the chapters that I got the most feedback and I would say compliments on is the nutrition section. And I have to say, I did not put together all of this nutrition information. Everything in this book is me. It's a compilation of what I've learned over the years. And the nutrition portion is pretty much what we use on a daily basis when I'm working with my clients. And I got a lot of that information from an organization called Precision Nutrition, Dr. John Berardi. I know many of the fitness people listening are very big fans of Precision Nutrition. And so we've adopted those when we're working with our clients. And so breaking that down and then breaking down some of the other supplements and things like that, which we did a little bit in the book, didn't get too crazy on there. But the bottom line is you can't out-train a bad diet. So in this chapter, I give a little bit of a story on a time a couple years ago when my diet wasn't nearly what it should have been. My workouts weren't nearly what it should have been. And as I think I labeled the section in here, the time I got fat. And so I gave a little story on, what happened, where was my mental state, what was going on in my life, and then how did I overcome it, and how did I dramatically change it in a 3-month period of time, and then kind of boil down some of the nutritional principles there, which, actually, if you want a full-blown look at the nutritional principles, we did an episode number 72, where I really walked through basically the same things that are in the book. But the bottom line is that your nutrition affects everything that you do. It affects how you feel. It affects how you perform. It affects whether you're going to reach your goals or you're not going to reach your goals as far as, what you're doing in the gym. And that can be power, strength, especially fat loss. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. And the fitness professionals out there know this. At least most of them should. But if you're not meeting your weight loss goals, it's highly, highly, highly unlikely that it's because of your exercise program. I guarantee it's going to be that you're not all in on whatever dietary changes you're trying. And I don't mean that, you have to go 100% hardcore cold turkey, but if you're not seeing some results, then you're not changing the habits that need to be changed. And what I see in many situations is we make exceptions for ourselves. We get in a certain social situation, birthday parties. Recently we've got a lot of playoff hockey going on. So you go and watch a hockey game, you have a beer or two, and you give yourself the excuse that, it's okay. This is just it's a special situation. Well, when a special situation comes up every single day, or you go out to a restaurant 5 times a week, and it's a special occasion. It's no longer a special occasion, and you're not all in on that. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and it's okay if you're not all in, but you have to understand that you can't blame it on other situations. It's a decision that you're making. And so we talk about a lot of this in the book, and it's something that I learned this a while back, called competing commitments. And you have to figure out where your competing commitments are. So yes, I love chocolate. Yes, I love pizza, but I want to eat that. But my other commitment is that I want to get fit. I want to get in better shape. I want to move better. I want to play better golf. And you have to decide, what's my commitment to? Is my commitment to the pizza, or is my commitment to what I say I want to do? And so if you look at that and you kind of weigh those factors every time you get in a situation where you can either eat pizza, or you can drink a beer, or you can eat ice cream, weigh those factors, those competing commitments. And if you're just a little bit more aware of them, I guarantee you're going to be moving in the right direction. Now, the 4th chapter that we have in the book is all about the quality of the execution that you have in the gym. Quality is way, way more important than quantity. And so you have to focus on your movement quality. What's your posture look like? What do your tempos look like? Are you conscious of the motion that you're doing, or are you just doing it haphazardly? Too often I see exercise that are done by individuals simply to get them done, just to go to the gym, to do your workout, to say that you did your workout, not necessarily focusing on or paying attention to the fact that you want to try to create better motion, you want to create better strength, or whatever you're doing. So this is why in many situations I'm not a big fan of the high intensity boot camp style workouts, because in many situations, and there are some situations where this works and where it's very effective, but in many situations, form and quality of exercise and intention of what you're doing can be lost simply because you can get wrapped up in the speed of things and trying to do X amount of reps in a certain period of time. So in my own personal training and when working with my clients, I prefer to have a much more structured approach, but I also have some fun with it too. There are definitely times when we'll throw in some intervals and high intensity stuff, but you have to be careful with what you're using in those situations. What are the exercises? Is it something that really needs a lot of form and neurological, cognitive attention, or is it something that can be done pretty easily with very good form? So just paying more attention to what's your posture look like, and this is in your golf swing too. What does your posture look like? How are you practicing? Are you ingraining those good habits, or are you just kind of going through the motions and getting through it without really recognizing if your quality is suffering? All right, number 5 on the list here would be that you have to challenge yourself. And this goes back again to the idea of simply doing it just to get it over with, or doing it with intention to get better. The way that we grow, the way that our body advances and gets better is through challenge, through stress, through failure. So if you're doing the same 20-pound dumbbell press that you've been doing for the past 10 years, you're going through the same program every time you go into the gym, there's no growth there. There's no improvement. And that's why you're still using a 20-pound dumbbell, because you haven't pushed and tried to go past that limit. And the same goes for your diet. The same goes for your strength. The same goes for your endurance, your power, your flexibility. If you're not working into, let's say you've got, tight hamstrings, just to use an easy example. If you don't stretch to the point of where you actually feel a stretch, you're not going to get any you're not going to get any benefit out of it. So you have to push a little bit, or if you're working on, your hip rotation, you got to work into a little bit of that uncomfortableness, if that's a word, because you've got to start testing it a little bit. If you never get there, you never push to get there, your body will never allow you to go there. So I'm talking about this primarily in respect to, like weight training, flexibility, those things, but this goes for anything in life. I mean, this goes for, creating habits and your job and, just kind of getting yourself out of comfortable situations and pushing yourself. And that can be, playing in a tournament and putting yourself in a place where it's very uncomfortable to be trying to hit a shot, make a putt when you're under that pressure. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and the better off you're going to be, the better player you're going to be. If you always do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. So our bodies, progress has to be forced with a new stimulus, is what one of my mentors taught me. There's no progress without a new stimulus, without reaching, above and beyond what you've already achieved. All right. Chapter number 6, we talk about cardio. And cardio is a big, highly debated topic. And I think that many of the people in the fitness industry are really kind of shifting more towards, some more of the interval training and high intensity sprints, which is definitely the direction that I have taken and have learned from, some very smart people. So bottom line, I really don't do much cardio. I don't have my clients do a whole lot of cardio. But if I do, it's going to be geared towards more of the high intensity sprints and, more of the get the heart rate up and then let your body rest and recover. So I'm still a little bit surprised to see so many people on the elliptical trainers, on the treadmills, on the stationary bikes. And I'm cool with that. If that's what you want to do, and especially if that's something that you do to help kind of clear your mind, I think that's awesome. I love going on long walks, or even every now and then I'll go take a jog just to clear the head. And there are times and reasons why somebody would do a long duration cardio. But I think that for what we're looking for, primarily with golf, is we're looking for power, speed. We're looking for some cardiovascular help, which a sprint is definitely going to do. Most people also do them for some sort of fat burning or fat loss, which you're going to get a lot of benefit post-workout by doing these high-intensity intervals. You're going to be burning a lot more for a longer period of time. So there's just a lot of benefits to doing these short bursts, plus it just takes less time. So we've done there's three great podcast episodes that I want to refer you to here. One is the 4th episode that we had on this show, the 18 Strong podcast, with Dr. Mark Smith, who is an expert in high-intensity interval training, and he wrote a research paper on it. So definitely, I'll have it linked up in the show notes, but definitely go check out episode number 4 of the 18 Strong podcast. We did another one with Neil Hausch in episode number 61, and we talked about different cardio for different people and what factors may come into why you want to do different styles of cardio. And then one of my favorite podcast episodes that I've ever listened to is by my buddy Jason Glass on the Coach Glass podcast, and it was called Cardio is for Suckers. And you can gauge by the title that he probably is not a huge fan of certain styles of cardio. So I'm going to encourage you to go check out Jason's podcast, the Coach Glass podcast, and listen to the Cardio is for Suckers episode. I don't know exactly offhand right now what episode it is. I'll link to it in the show notes, but you can search for that in iTunes. All right, and then the last chapter in the book is really dedicated to the fact that there's so much information out there on the internet. There's so much information out there in books and TV that it's really important that you find somebody that you can trust, that you can follow. So finding a mentor, finding a coach. And I try to make the distinction between just going out and getting a trainer versus getting somebody that is a coach. And a big distinguishing factor that I think of when I think of coach versus trainer versus mentor, mentor and coach, a little bit more along the same lines of somebody who has kind of your end game in mind. They're not there. Look, I'm a big believer, and I do this on a daily basis. I have clients that I see week in and week out, and sometimes I feel like I've drifted over into the trainer side as opposed to the coach side, and consciously am making a better effort to be more the mentor, the coach. And so hopefully that's what we are providing you with here, is kind of a resource that you can go to and trust. But I look at the training side. In many situations, clients end up relying on you simply for two reasons: to count their reps and to walk them through the gym to show them the next exercise. And it's my belief that if that's what they're doing, or that's what you're doing as a coach, or that's what I'm doing as a coach, I'm doing them a disservice. Yes, I'm bringing them in. They're accountable to come to their workouts, which is awesome. Totally agree with that. I'm showing them new things. Totally agree that that's awesome. But if I'm not teaching them how to do this stuff, so if I'm not around, they're still enabled and they're able to do it on their own. If I'm not teaching them that, especially the younger golfers, the younger people that I work with, if they can't walk into a gym on their own and figure out a good, decent workout that they can do, based on some of the principles that we use in our own workouts when I have them, then I feel like I've failed them as a client, as a golfer. And so that's a big part of what this book is teaching you some of the principles. Not to say that you shouldn't go see somebody or work with a coach, but this way, if you don't have a coach, or you're on the road, you're traveling, or you're at college and you're working in the workout facility there, you have an understanding and an idea of some of the main factors that you have to pay attention to when you're putting together a program, so you don't look like everybody else that's in that gym just doing whatever exercise with no real purpose or no real thought behind it. This way you have a little bit of structure that you can build on. So having a trainer, to count your reps, that's great, but having a coach or a mentor to teach you how to do this stuff and learn how to move forward and do this on your own, I think is way, way more effective and beneficial in the long run. I like to think of, Daniel-san and Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid when I think coach and mentor, molding Daniel-san into the young student that he wanted, learning things that he didn't even realize he was learning, but eventually, he learned those lessons so he could take ownership of what he gained in those sessions. All right, so here's where I want to break into some things that we did not cover in the book, and I just feel I've gained a lot of clarity on some other very important factors outside of the training, outside of the technique of golf and of fitness, and it's again more of the lifestyle factor of what can you do to create a better situation for yourself. So when you go out to play golf, whether you're a professional, aspiring professional golfer, a Division I golfer, or your everyday average Joe that goes out on the weekend, shoots 100, what can you do to make sure that you're preparing yourself, preparing your body, you're going to play better, you're going to feel better, you're not going to hurt yourself? So I'm going to label this section, Move More, Move Better, because basically our society these days is really working against us, working against our bodies. Between kids sitting at a desk all day, you driving 3 hours to go to a sales appointment, or sitting at your desk all day, or watching hours of Netflix on TV, and in addition to all of us using our devices, texting and looking at emails. I mean, we're constantly in terrible postures, and the world is slowly reverting us to caveman posture, caveman status. So here's what I'm stressing, and here's what I'm suggesting, is not to be a victim of that. These things are happening, and you have your job. If you're a student, you're sitting in a desk, and I understand that. But you have to take ownership of that. And if you're going to be sitting in a desk all day, you need to be able to figure out how to counteract what you're doing there, what's happening to your posture. And yes, going to the gym 3 days a week or 5 days a week and working out for an hour is awesome. But think about this. If you're working or you're a student, let's just say you're in a seated position for 5 hours a day, and that's on the low end. I would say most people are in a chair or something for at least 8 hours, 10 hours, maybe even beyond, between playing video games and whatnot. So let's say 5 hours a day, for 7 days. That's 35 hours. Or let's even just take 5 days. If, let's say that 5 days a week you're working or you're a student. So 5 hours a day times 5 days a week, that's 25 hours. Now, compare that to the 3 to 5 hours that you're working out, and which one's going to have a more permanent effect on you? Is it the posture that you're in for 25 hours a week, or is it the posture you're in, and hopefully you're doing the exercises properly, is it the posture you're in for 3 to 5 hours a week? It's definitely going to be more towards the work hours. And so what you have to do is figure out what are some ways that I can counteract throughout my day in order to reduce these stresses, reduce these postures. Because think about what that postural position is doing to your golf game. Have you looked at your golf posture lately on video? Have you seen what you look like? Most people, when I split frame them between a tour pro, they're almost disgusted at what their golf posture looks like. And, usually rounded shoulders, hunched back. And by doing a little bit of work, we can correct that posture initially, but then it's going to take a long time to really work on that and be conscious of it and cognizant of what you're doing on a daily basis so you can get into that great posture. So here's my suggestion. Just a couple things that you can do on a daily basis. Again, just making more lifestyle changes. If you sit at a desk and you have the opportunity to look into one of these standing desks, there's a company called VariDesk. I think it's VariDesk.com, where you can take it. It's basically a desk on top of a desk. You put it on top of your current desk and it raises up your computer monitor, it raises up your keyboard, all that stuff, so you can literally stand at your workstation without going and having to buy or build or create some huge monstrosity. These things are pretty sleek looking. I've actually convinced one or more of my clients to go get one, and I'm working on a couple other clients to do it because their posture has just suffered for so long. One of my clients, he's in his early to mid 70s. He's been in a desk for 10 hours a day for probably 50 years. And boy, his body has really taken on those bad postures. And we work so hard to get him out of these postures, get him moving better. But it's such a fight. And he's doing yoga a couple times a week. He's doing soft tissue manual therapy once every couple of weeks. He's coming in to see me. He's going and doing workouts on his own and flexibility stuff on his own. But it's become so ingrained in his body that it's super difficult to make significant progress. So the younger you are, the more you can start implementing this. I can't stress how important it is. Another suggestion is set a timer at your desk. And I know if you're a student, you probably can't do this, but set a timer at your desk so every hour you get up and you walk around for 10 minutes, or you go to the water cooler or whatever you do. But it's also going to be better for your brain too, to just kind of take a little bit of that mental clarity break. It'll help wake you up. But just posture-wise, stand up, do a couple back extensions, maybe do a couple exercises, some little squats or something like that. Go for a walk. Take a short walk in the middle of the day. Again, not for cardio purposes, but simply for movement purposes, posture purposes. And then lastly, just start moving more. When's the last time that you got into a deep squat position? When's the last time that you actually got all the way down onto the floor and had to get back up again if it wasn't from a fall? So we're actually doing something kind of cool right now with 18 Strong and on our YouTube and Instagram and everything. We are compiling what we're calling Mobility May, which is really kind of a cool project where we've got some of the greatest fitness professionals and people in golf all over the world, really, that are submitting some of their favorite mobility exercises or mobility suggestions, stretches, things like that. And we're posting them up. So check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. We're posting them every single day. Today is, we're, I think, on our 12th day of May, where we've posted a video every single day, and we will through the rest of the month. So just kind of a cool project. Go there and get some new ideas. So, all right, the next segment I want to talk about is our sleep. Sleep smarter, which if you listened to the episode last week with my buddy Sean Stevenson, who has written a fantastic book on sleep, quality of sleep, how to get better sleep, what it does for you. So I'm going to refer you back to last week's episode number 87, and also the first time we had Sean on, which was episode number 21. And until I read his book for the first time, I was one of those guys that really kind of prided myself on the fact that I could get a lot done and I could do it on a little sleep. So I'd stay up late at night working on stuff. I'd get up early in the morning and work on things. And until I read Sean's book, I didn't realize, internally, not that I noticed a ton of issues, physically, or I was tired during the day and things like that, but I never really realized hormonally what was going on inside of me and the damage that I could be doing to my body, just mentally, my ability to recover properly. And so sleep has so many effects on different aspects of our life and, our hormone function. Our hormones are basically the engine of our system. And if they're out of whack and they're not working properly, you're going to have trouble with all kinds of things, which, eventually we end up taking medication for, and we start supplementing with different things. But if we take care of the root of the problem, and in many cases it can be related to sleep, we can, really regulate that stuff. Another factor is short-term memory and transferring our short-term memory into long-term memory. So think about your golf game. Think about all the practice that you do, all the different things that you're working on, your putting stroke, how you're hitting a ball, how to draw a ball, how to fade a ball. During our sleep is when our short-term memory is transposed into our long-term memory. And if you don't get into these certain deep stages of REM sleep, you can't get those memories to transfer over. And so if you're never doing that, you're kind of practicing against yourself. It's like you're banging your head against the wall. So allowing yourself to sleep properly and get better sleep is going to help with those memories and skill acquisition. It also helps you increase your ability to gain muscle mass or decrease fat, because if your body's not producing the right hormones, you're not going to get the benefits that you would with a normal workout, with a normal diet. And then lastly, just mental clarity. I mean, we've all experienced being tired, driving home from work, just kind of almost dozing off or being at your desk and, not being able to think straight because you're so tired. And so mental clarity is extremely reliant on your body's ability and your brain's ability to get the rest that it needs. And then recovery is such a huge topic these days for sport, for training. And so after you work out, your body is actually in a worse state than before you work out. So when you go to the gym and you're standing at the gym before you lift up a weight, your body is in better shape then than it is after you work out. Because when you work out, you're breaking stuff down. You're beating yourself up. And so afterwards, your it got its butt kicked. But once you get the time to sleep and eat and recover properly, that's when your body actually repairs itself. And it's not until after that your body has actually gained the benefit and has improved and has gotten better. All right, we're closing in on the last couple here. And the biggest thing that I can tell you that I've really learned and have started implementing and working on and trying to figure out best practices on how to do this is creating better habits. Because it all boils down to not willpower, but better habits. And so much of this boils down to the mental side of the game, which we've talked about with many of our guests, Dr. Brett McCabe, Dr. Ellen Reed, Dr. Michael Gervais, so many different people that talk about, creating habits and doing things not based on willpower, because we almost have a limited resource when it comes to willpower. And I've been told and have read that, it's almost like you've got a bucket full of willpower. And you start the day with a bucket full. As the day goes on, you make all these different decisions. And by the end of the day, your bucket is running on empty. And if you don't have habits created, whether that be related to food, your workouts, your sleep, or even, your mental game, your practice, your, on-course decisions, it's much harder to make those good, solid choices. So much of what we do is dictated by how we think. And the way we think and interact with ourselves, both on and off the course, can absolutely direct how well you play or how good of a workout you get. And so not only for golf, but just for daily life situations, it's many times the habits that we have that dictate what we're going to do. So to give you an example of this on the mental side, if you're on the golf course and you tend to focus more on the bad shots, you focus more on the bad things that have happened, when you step up over the ball, you're going to be much more inclined to think about avoiding a bad shot or avoiding the water, as opposed to mentally relying on the fact that you've hit this shot before, you've hit it perfectly before. And if you don't have that habit, which you can work on improving by using strategies that we've talked about in many of the shows, if you don't work on that habit of thinking differently, you'll never think differently. And therefore, you're going to be focused more on the wrong or avoiding the bad things. And as we know, what you draw your attention to is usually more of what you produce. So some of the things that I recommend you working on as far as building habits, and even some of the things that I've been working on are, things like visualization. If depending on what your goal is, visualizing the shots that you need to hit, visualizing what you're trying to do in your golf swing, or if it's that your postures are bad or your movement is terrible or you've got some inflexibilities, then focus on the habit of maybe getting up 10 minutes earlier and doing some foam rolling in the morning and working on those things, or doing some foam rolling before you go to bed. It could be prepping your meals, planning out your meals on Sundays before you get ready for the week. If you're having trouble with food decisions, if you run into situations where, you all of a sudden you're stuck and you got to go to Qdoba for lunch because you didn't prepare your food. So let's work on changing that. Get your food prepped. If you don't know what workouts you're doing, if you don't know what to do in your workout program, let's work on these habits of getting things prepared and having them ready to go. And the more prepared you are, the more likely you're setting yourself up for success. And then the bottom line, guys, the very last point I want to make on this episode is to have more fun with everything. And this is definitely about golf, definitely about working out. There's sometimes you go out there and it's not that much fun. You don't hit a ball squarely, you don't putt well. In your workouts, you're not as strong as you want to be. You can't do what you're trying to do, or the workout just sucks, and it's a grind to get through it. But why decide to be pissed? Why decide to be pessimistic and not have fun? The reason you play golf, and I don't care if you're, again, a D1 player, an aspiring professional, or everyday average Joe going out to play on the weekends. The reason you play is because you like it. You love it. Hopefully you love it. If you don't love it, you're not going to become the next Jordan Spieth. You're not going to win your club championship. If it's miserable for you to go out and play and practice, find a different hobby, because that's not what this is all about. And I know this is getting into, some outside the lines as far as golf and fitness, but this is kind of my philosophy over the past few years of everything in life is have fun with it. Enjoy it. It's all about your attitude. Even if something goes wrong, even if you have a failure, even if you stink one day on the course, accept it. But you can choose to have the attitude to love it and enjoy it and learn from it. And I guarantee if you do, you're going to be moving forward in your game. You're going to be moving forward in your fitness. If you're struggling with your weight loss, figure out how to make it a game and make it a little bit more enjoyable. It doesn't have to be a miserable grind. Yes, it's hard, but again, you're learning, you're getting better, you're challenging yourself. And if you can learn to enjoy that process and see that benefits are being made, then I think you're going to have a different mindset, as opposed to, oh man, I can't eat that. It's more like, oh man, I'm not going to eat that because I'm going to look good in that bathing suit, or I'm going to, I'm down 10 pounds or whatever it is. But celebrate the fact that you have the opportunity to play this great game. You have the opportunity to do your workouts. There are so many things that we need to be grateful for, that I'm grateful for. And I just think if we look at that, we look more at what we're doing as approaching our lifestyle, not just our workouts, not just our practice sessions, and don't put ourselves in these little segments and boxes, but look at this as a global thing. Live better, move better. The more you move, the better you move, the stronger you are, the more fit you are, the better nutrition you have. All of these things have positive benefits that are definitely going to make you a better golfer. They're going to make you a happier person, and I guarantee the people around you are going to enjoy being around you much, much more. So without anything further, I hope you guys enjoy the book. Again, let me know what you think. Send us some pictures if you get your book in the mail. bogeyproofworkout.com. If you read it, if you like it, please leave us a review on Amazon. If you like the show and you haven't been here before, check us out on 18strong.com for all the old shows. There's show notes on there for every episode that we've had. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and leave us a review there as well. But as always, thank you for being here so much. I'll chat with you next week. Train hard, practice smart, and play better golf.
Thanks for listening to the 18 Strong Podcast at www.18strong.com. And remember, train hard, practice smart, and play better golf.